First thing to do is get a piece of felt. You can use an A4 piece or slightly smaller, just as long as your bowl or your plate fits onto it. And then get your pen and try and be as economical as you can with the fabric so you're not wasting too much. And then draw around your bowl or your plate, like so. And then you're going to get your scissors and you're going to cut around the circle that you've just drawn. It doesn't have to be too neat because we're going to stitch around that anyway. So just cut around, and then once you've finished with your fabric, don't throw away the scraps because you could use them to stuff your cupcake or you can use them to decorate later on. Next, get your needle. I'm going to use red thread just so that you can see where I'm sewing, and come in about 1 centimetre from the edge of the circle, and then you're going to do a running stitch, which is just a straight in and out stitch all the way around the circle. And as you go, gather the thread, and you will see that your cupcake will start to form. So the cake part of your cupcake will start to appear. Once you get round back to the start again, we're going to get our stuffing and we're going to stuff it. You can use cotton wool or you can use an old cushion or something as stuffing. And the more stuffing you add, the bigger your cupcake will be. But also to take care and not rip the stitches that you've just made. There we go, and you can see that our cupcake is taking shape. Just gonna add a bit more stuffing in there. There we go. And once you've got enough stuffing in, we're gonna close up the cupcake. So to do that, we're just gonna stitch across the opening a few times just to close it up. And then we're gonna move on to the next step. There we go. So once we close it up, just to make sure that it's not gonna burst open, and also that we can't see any of the stuffing coming out. And once you've done that, do a stitch, go under the stitch and pull it tight. And that means we can make a loop and make a knot. And we can then cut it. The next part is, take your cupcake and you're going to get a piece of felt, and we're going to draw an icing splatter onto the piece of felt. So imagine that you're making a cake and you're about to pour the icing on to the top of the cake. So we're going to make like a nice splatter shape for the icing. And once you've drawn it, get scissors again, and we're just going to cut around the shape. And it doesn't have to be too neat because you're going to be using this as a pin cushion, so it's going to be full of pins. There we go. And once that's cut out, turn it over so that we're not seeing the pen, and then we're going to pin it down onto the cupcake. So just put a couple of pins in just to hold them, hold the icing in place. There we go. And then get our needle and thread. And in the same style of sewing that we did on the last part, just a running stitch, maybe about 1/2 centimetre from the edge of that piece of icing. So we've done that. Cut the thread really close to the fabric, like so, and then you can get your cupcake case. And I'm using silicone cupcake cases because paper cupcake cases, they're going to get damaged really easily and rip and tear. So get your glue, and you just need a little dollop of glue on the bottom of the cupcake case, and then leave it to dry for a couple of seconds. It'll go tacky, and the opening that we made earlier on is going to go face down into the case, like so. And there we have our cupcake. So we've got our basic cupcake, and I think it looks a bit plain if I was going to a cupcake shop, I'd be like, it's quite a boring cupcake. So I'm gonna add some sequins onto it. We've got these amazing red sequins here. So I'm just gonna take a couple, and when you're starting to sew sequins on, do an anchor stitch in the fabric first. So I'm just gonna do a couple of stitches, and then I'm gonna get my needle and I'm gonna sew the sequin down onto the fabric like that. So I'm feeding it through the thread and then down onto the fabric, and then I'm gonna sew either side. So around the sequin and then back through the middle. On either side, you can either do it twice, round one side, two sides, or you can do round four sides of the sequin just to make sure that it stays on. Once you've stitched on all of your sequins and your decorations that you want to, you're ready to start using it as a pincushion. And you can just pop your pins in like that. And remember, you can make it as fancy or as plain as you like. For example, I've found on Pinterest, I found this really nice pattern that looks like dollops of icing. I've also put on some sparkly sequins and make it look like they're sugar. And we have a kind of chocolate banana cupcake here, and this weird blue and green one, which doesn't look too appetizing, but it is quite funky as well. And then our iron brew cupcake. So you really can do any design you like.